Hello, this is Melissa Cole, curator of the Oshawa Community Museum. I would like to thank you for joining me today for our podcast series. This month's podcast features an intriguing artifact that is recently new to our collection. It is a domed wax floral study. If you had a fine home during the Victorian Era from 1860 to the 1880s, you most likely had a wax floral study, or at least one in your parlor. These oddly fascinating pieces could contain anything from artful displays of flora, fauna, and food, made from either wax, paper, human hair, wool, muslin, feathers, seashells, and even buttons. Sometimes there were real animals such as canaries, pheasants, and even terriers that had been preserved by skilled taxidermists. The hand-blown removable glass domes with their still-life interiors may seem weird by today's standards, but one must understand that the 19th century was an exciting period of exploration, innovation, and experimentation. Sometimes they were found in pairs and would adorn the fireplace mantel, while others would reside on a table in the center of the room. Sizes and shapes varied from big to small, short to tall, and oval or round. The domes made for the formal parlors were more or less full of flowers. Flowers were made from paper, wax, silk, shells, and real flowers that had been dried. The art of artificial flower making was at its height around 1860. Classes were offered at ladies' finishing school, and kits could be ordered through the mail. Parlor domes were not all handmade, as a lot of department and jewelry stores offered them for sale right off their showroom floors. This particular arrangement in our collection contains handmade wax flowers. The wax flowers are very delicate and tend to break apart after 100 years or so, which was evident in this arrangement prior to conservation. The dome has a wood base that has been stained a shiny dark brown. Little bun feet hold the arrangement off the table. A small groove was cut into the wood base for the glass dome to rest in, and a braid or a cord is put around the base of the glass dome to protect it. The glass dome is very thin, which indicates that this dome is older. Many of the glass domes were hand-blown. How do you know if a dome is hand-blown or not? You look for tiny bubbles and uneven areas in the glass. The domes were practical as well because they kept poking fingers out, also dirt, soot, and dust away. Many Victorian homes contained gas lights, coal fires, and the streets were filthy with mud, dust, and manure. Many forms of vases and baskets were used to hold the flowers under the domes. The favorite of most was a vieux Paris, or an old Paris flare vase. Holes were drilled into the bottom so they could be attached to the wood base. Plaster of Paris was used to hold the flowers in place. Often a fake feathered bird would be added as an extra touch, and some people also chose tiny pieces of wax fruit. These could also be purchased from a hat shop or a flower shop, or through mail-order catalogs. Even life-size wax fruit pieces were added. The domes with the large fruit pieces were designed to be displayed in a dining room setting. If you were to look at a mail-order catalog from around 1860 to the 1890s, you might see a dome listed as Wax Floral Study under a glass dome, Silk and Wax Floral Arrangement with Vieux Paris, Porcelain Flare Vase, Floral Study with Bird under a parlor dome, a pair of floral parlor domes suitable for any fine home's mantel. This particular intricate wax floral arrangement is made from beeswax, silk, wire, and hair. The model contains a large arching spray that is 31 centimeters wide and 41 centimeters in length. Correspondence with the donor indicates that this piece was on display for many years in her grandmother's parlor, a room she was not allowed to play. As a child, she was always interested in the floral arrangement that sat in this room. It is estimated that this particular wax floral study is from 1910, therefore it is possibly over 100 years old. When the domed wax floral arrangement arrived at the museum, many of the flowers were cracked and some pieces had broken away and fell to the bottom of the dome. This is to be expected considering the age of the wax flowers. Over time, exposure to fluctuating temperatures causes the wax to soften, peel, and crack, and allow dust and dirt to permeate the surface of the arrangement, and over time more dust accumulated. The project was carried out in stages over the course of a year. Wax model conservation is a slow and painstaking process, and the extreme fragility of the objects makes their conservation quite difficult. Small pieces of the broken wax were analyzed to determine the composition so that suitable materials could be chosen for repairs. Conservator Miriam Harris had to research what type of adhesive would be suitable for repairing the wax flowers. After the wax flowers were prepared, and each one was repaired, each individual wax flower was cleaned and restored. The arrangement was carefully packaged for transport back to the museum. This domed wax flower study is currently on display in the Parlour of Henry House and can be viewed by visitors to the Oshawa Community Museum. Remember, we are opened all year round on Tuesdays to Fridays from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. and on Sundays from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. Thank you.